60.
60, awesome. So those three conversion factors are all things that we know, and we can use these three conversion factors to solve this bigger problem of how many seconds are in a day. Okay, so here I've laid out this example of how many seconds are in a day using our conversion factors. And as you can see, we have three conversion factors right here, and each conversion factor is also known as a conversion bridge. And as you can see, I've started with the quantity, so the day was our starting quantity. I put that in the upper left-hand side of my paper, and on the upper right-hand side of my paper, I put the quantity that I wanted to end with. So that's really important to remember, and it can keep things straight when you're dealing with a lot of different quantities. And the goal of conversion factors is to have what you have on the top, those units, cancel with the units on the bottom. So we're going to talk about this in a few minutes in more detail. But what you can see with this example is that the day on the top cancels with the day on the bottom. The hours on the top cancels with the hour on the bottom. And the minutes on the top cancel with the minutes on the bottom. And we are left with our quantity that we want to end with, which is seconds. So that is the final goal, is to get everything on the top to cancel with everything on the bottom and have you only left with the one quantity that you need. And to get this final answer of seconds, what we did is we multiplied everything on the top together and divided by everything else on the bottom. This example is a little bit easier because everything on the bottom happens to be 1. So all we had to do was multiply by everything on the top, and we were done. Are there any questions about that?
Nope.
Okay. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the International System of Units, also known as the SI unit scale. But these are just standards for measurement that we as scientists use on an everyday basis. So for example, mass, we use the gram, that basic unit of the gram, to measure. For length, we use the meter. For time, we use seconds. For temperature, we use Kelvin. And for volume, we use the liter. So each of these base units in parentheses are your starting material, and you can either get larger with a larger base unit or smaller with a smaller base unit, depending on what you are measuring. So a little bit about the metric system and the prefixes that we use to measure our base units. As you can see in the middle here represents your base unit. So like what we just talked about, how length is measured with meters. So in that example, meters would be your base unit. The prefixes that I really want you guys to pay attention to are the kilo, the centi, and the milli. So there are a few more prefixes, but those three are the major ones that I want you guys to really think about. So the kilo is, so in this example, since we're talking about meters, it would be kilometer. If we were doing mass and we wanted to use grams, it would be kilogram. So the prefix always stays the same, but in this example of